Elise here with Momentum Strength and Wellness, and I'm here to share my eating disorder story. Why now? Why am I sharing it now? It's been a very interesting ride the past couple years. I've been, I would say, eating disorder free for just over 5. I was bulimic for, maybe over a decade, about 10 or 11 years. And I finally want to share my story because I'm at a really great place and I feel really secure with myself on sharing what I went through, how long it went on, and how it happened. Because I do want to empower anyone and everyone who may be going through this. Eating disorders come in all shapes and sizes. Mine's true to myself, but I know and I think that it will resonate with a lot of people. And I hope that I can help anyone who needs this, because I want to be someone, a voice that I needed years and years ago that I didn't have. And I think that the more that I'm beginning to speak to people, coach people, meet people, I'm really starting to see how many people have an unhealthy relationship to food. And that was me. And I want to empower people to understand the benefits, the nutrients, food information, fueling your body in a really healthy way. But like I said, a lot of people can have an unhealthy relationship to food. So my eating disorder story starts my freshman year of college, which was the fall of 2005. And at that point, it was a really pivotal point in my life, which I think a lot of people go through. You know, I'm thrown into a new city, a new college. I was away from my family. I was away from my closest friends. I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what I wanted out of life. I had no idea what I was gonna major in. The uncertainty was so overwhelming. And I've always struggled with body images, especially like just feeling I was never pretty enough, never good enough, never thin enough. I wasn't really overweight. I just always felt chubby and never comfortable in my skin. And going into a college where I didn't know anyone, I felt an overwhelming need to be accepted and liked and wanted. And so the bulimia began pretty much right away. I remember I think eating almost like an entire pizza one night and thinking to myself, holy crap, what did you do? Get this out of your system immediately. And I thought, I'm just gonna throw it up. And as soon as I did, it was pure bliss. And I know that sounds really weird, but it was a release. And a release of, I just ate this, I feel awful, but now it's gone and I feel amazing. And that was the mentality that I had from then on out. Anything and everything I put in my body, I purged immediately after. And if I couldn't purge immediately after, meaning if I was out somewhere, if I was eating someplace else, all I thought about was, how do I get to the nearest bathroom to purge? And it was a never-ending cycle that did not stop, because when you first develop that eating disorder of binging and purging, because none of that food is staying in your body, you're losing weight. And I lost weight like that. And guess what? Guess what everybody was noticing around me? Wow, Elise, you look really thin. You look really skinny. What are you doing? You look great. From my friends to my family to Dan, people that I didn't know. And I was like, whoa, okay. This is the confidence that I need. And it just fueled it even more. I kept eating harder, binging harder, and the cycle was just never ending. But as I began to lose that weight after a couple months, with the bulimia as an eating disorder, it begins to revert back because your body is in such shock that you're purging so constantly. Anything that you're putting into it that it can grab and hold on to and store, it does. So unlike anorexia, where you're just completely not eating and you can stay that, skinny, rail thin figure, bulimia begins to work in an opposite direction, where if I'm eating something and I couldn't purge right away, it's sticking to me. And so I began, after maybe that first 7, 8, 9 months, to gain all the weight back. And that made me feel absolutely awful. And I tried to do it harder. I tried to have this eating disorder harder, that just wasn't working. And like I said, the cycle just continues. And your brain is so mentally focused on eating and purging. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to stop myself. I did end up going to see a counselor at the college and then doing therapy my freshman year. Neither which really helped. It did slow down the binging and purging, where I was trying so hard to nourish myself with what I thought was healthy foods, but I still was so distorted in my perception of what the food was doing in my body and how it was going to make me look and feel bigger and inflamed and get back to this chubby place, and no one would like me. I wouldn't get the compliments that I was receiving. So I ended up transferring schools after my sophomore year at the college that I had started, maybe just in hopes of, starting over and really reliving, my college experience. I ended up transferring to a school that was closer to my family, closer to Dan, but it did not stop. I unfortunately was almost addicted to the disorder, that it did not stop. And it continued. I would eat meals and keep them down, and then there would be times where I would binge and purge and feel much better. And at this point, there was a handful of people that knew, especially in my college years. I needed some help from my family and from Dan, but I mean, really maybe 3 or 4 people that I'm closest with knew. I hid it from everyone. It was a 24-hour job where I was leading a double life. And after I had transferred and was going through therapy, I think everyone that knew at that point, I kind of hid. I kind of made them believe that it had stopped, and it didn't. I wanted to keep it secret because I wanted to keep doing it. I didn't want anyone to tell me to stop because it was making me feel really good. And unfortunately, that was just the case for the next several years. And I've been eating disorder, bulimia free now for over 5, which I'm very, very proud of, and something that took a really long time to get to. When Dan and I started this health and wellness journey just about 10 years ago, I was still purging at that time because my mindset was just not in the right place. I still didn't understand the relationship that food and my body could have in a really healthy way. I was still kind of gravitating towards, I'll eat healthy every once in a while, but then I also still want to have that junk food, but the junk food that I have, I'm gonna purge. So it's gonna be like I didn't have it. So it was that never ending cycle. And at that point, really, no one thought that I was doing what I was doing. So I was hiding myself. I was being untrue to everyone around me. And I just felt like I wanted to continue doing it, like I said. So I finally, at a point, I just was getting so defeated and really down on myself because I wasn't at the weight that I wanted to be. I still wasn't confident in my body. And I was like, there's gotta be something more to this. There has to be something that I can do to really bring my body back to life. And so at that point, I had then told Dan that, okay, I have been very dishonest with you, and I need a little bit of help here. And that's when we decided to do a 30-day metabolism reset of mine, because I had destroyed my metabolism, my stomach so badly. I needed to start from scratch. And when I'm given a task, I do it to the fullest. So I was mentally preparing myself like, okay, this is gonna be 30 days of me completely devoting myself to the best quality foods that I'm going to keep in my body with a strict regimen of fruits, vegetables, meats, and then going along with like a diet. And within the first week or so, I felt my body change, and I felt so much more appreciation for what I was putting into my body and understanding what it was doing, because I began to shift my mindset. That's really what it is. And I was so comfortable eating the things that I was because I didn't feel guilty anymore, and I was developing a much healthier relationship to food than I had never had before. And after those 30 days was up, we developed a new plan of how I was going to begin eating and training, and it was so geared towards my lifestyle and what I needed for my specific self, mind, body, soul, that it just recharged me. And that was just over 5 years ago. That was it. I was like just so in awe with how my body responded so positively to that, and the power that food has and how beneficial it can be when you're not abusing it. So I want that same thing for everybody, because I know that the health and fitness industry and society can really be detrimental to not only women, but men too. And if my sharing my story can be of any benefit to any one person, that will make me feel, so much better. But that's, a little bit of the background and how long it lasted, the never-ending cycle of binging and purging and living a double life, and not sharing this with anyone because it was so personal, and I wasn't ready to share it with the world, but I am now. I'm much more confident. I come from a place of self-worth because I was able to get myself out of it. And if I can help anyone else to do that, I want to. And I think that the most important thing that I took out of this was that we're given this one life. I'm given this human suit that I'm wearing right now, and I unfortunately abused that for a really long time. And I'm repairing the damages that I did. But each and every day it gets easier. It's a struggle for sure, and I'm very cautious of what I put in my body and the relationship that I have to food. But it's so much better. And I do feel like this is also a release, of coming out of a little bit of my story. And I hope that it helps you understand where and why I do what I do, because it is, I feel, my life's passion to bring awareness to food freedom, and being able to eat what's gonna benefit your body, give you fuel, give you the information that you need, that strength, that mentality to build the body of your dreams. I will absolutely talk more about this now that it's out, and so I won't be worried about slipping. And I didn't mean to say that. So I hope that this information is received positively, and I'm happy to obviously answer any questions that you have. Don't be afraid to DM or reach out if you're going through something similar and need that, talked about privately. You can always email, direct message us. Like I said, I want this to be a conversation that I can talk with people freely or privately, whatever it may be. But yes, that is the little bit of my eating disorder journey that I am fully recovered from now, for sure. But like I said, each and every day is a struggle, and I do work on myself and want to help others work on themselves as well.